Okay, so there we have Dr. Bangera, our guest for this evening. As you all know that Dr. Abhishek Bangera is a renowned sports physiotherapist practicing in Bombay. He and his crew have been members for the fitness and the physiotherapy regime for quite a few events, which all of you have been a part of. Recently, he and his crew has given service even to the naval tri event, which involved running, cycling, and yachting. And Abhishek himself is a avid bicyclist. He also calls himself a rookie runner, but he is much, much better than that. So welcome, Abhishek, for this evening's chat.
Thank you so much, Doc. Glad to have all of you out here on this Saturday evening. Thankfully, a lot of you have sent in a set of questions which you would like us to answer.
Right.
When Satish and Doc had sent across all the messages to you. So, Doc, would you like to come up with the questions while I answer, or should I go ahead with that?
So right at the beginning, Abhishek, I wanted to know how is the lockdown treating you? You don't look as if you've been a part of the lockdown. You look nice and fit and cheerful.
That's very kind of you. I lost a ton of weight out here running errands for all the houses that I need to take care of. But thank you so much.
Right.
I hope all of you are also are in the pink of your health.
Hi Satish. Satish has joined us. Hi Ashish. Hi Dr. Kannan. Okay. So first and the foremost, Abhishek, what people wanted to know was that in this period of lockdown, people have been working from home, and now that people are working from home, they do not have ergonomic tables and chairs to work with, and therefore many of them have this problem of backaches, neck aches, and all. So how does one take care of this problem?
So the first and foremost thing which you need to be aware of, whether you are working from home or even when you go back to your corporate life, provided you are working in a corporate setup, is you need to take frequent breaks. When I mean a frequent break, that doesn't mean to take a 15-minute break for every half an hour that you work. But keep changing your postures. So if you've been sitting for half an hour, just get up and do a small backward bending movement. One repetition will suffice just to counter the static forces at play of you sitting continuously with your head hunched ahead while you're working on your laptop or your desktop. You need to sit way behind with your tailbone actually touching the backrest. Slide your chair ahead so that you make use of your leg space and come as close to the screen as you possibly can. But at the same time, you might have to push the laptop an arm's length away. If you're using a laptop at home, pile up a set of books so that you can keep the laptop at your eye level. But then again, you can type on that keyboard which is elevated. If you have access to an external keyboard and an external mouse, that would really help so that you are more ergonomically placed with the laptop at eye level so that you don't end up hunching and poking your head out trying to reach out to the screen. Set your chair as close to the table as you can and rest your forearms on the table. When you do all these and you take frequent breaks, most of your aches and pains will be at bay. Very important thing is when we are sitting at home, we often tend to sit with our legs cross-legged up on the chair. So try to avoid the temptation of sitting on the sofa, sitting on the chair with your legs up, sitting with your laptop on the bed, your relaxed posture. No matter how tempting they may be, if the bed is meant to lie down upon. It's meant to sleep on. So use the bed for sleeping and not for working. You need to sit on a proper dining table and chair if you don't have a workstation at home. But see to it that you're using a table and a chair, and not your sofa or your bean bags or reclining chairs or your bed.
That's very nice, Abhishek. So having taken care of the work, now let's come back to what people are more interested in. That's their fitness regime and their. So there have been quite a few people in this times of the lockdown who have been locked indoors, who've been running at home. They've been running indoors. They've been doing stair workouts at home. So what is your take on this? Is it a good thing to be running at home within that short 20, 50 meters, whatever they can this thing? And what is your take on the stair workouts?
So not just in Mumbai for that matter, or India for that matter, across the world, the running community is divided into two groups, whether to run indoors or not. Uh, there's no science behind it. Uh, this is the first time in the living memory that we are facing
True, true.
these kind of conditions of quarantine and lockdown. At least in my generation, I would say. So I really can't say scientifically what is true and what will actually work for us, what is harmful for us. These are all skeptical things for us to debate on, and the debate can go on forever. What we need to be sure about, I don't know where the noise is coming from. All right, I hope, yeah. Uh, okay, so sorry for that disturbance. Yeah. So, without scientific data to back us, we really can't know whether indoor running is good or bad.
True.
Uh, if at all any researches have been done, trust me, those researches are there are different gradations of researches, scientific researches. You need to have, there's a hierarchy to follow. Unless and until it's a systematic review of a particular high order, all the other researches are not good enough to quote or to put up on a PPT or out here in front of you and say that
True.
this research states this. No, you should not be running indoors. Yes, you should be running indoors. But what we do know is mankind uh, has evolved by adapting. Our ancestors have evolved by adapting. Uh, Again, one size doesn't fit all. So what may work for some people may not work for the others. So if you have been doing some kind of indoor running, I strongly recommend that you have a word with your coach before you begin with any sort of training at home. If you're not under any training from any coach, speak with your colleagues, your running colleagues who are senior to you, who are practicing indoor running. There are many out there who are. So speak with them, understand the nitty-gritties of whatever they are doing, the tips that they are following, and see whether that works for you. The safest way to run indoors um, is that you take as long a distance as you can. Uh, in Mumbai, it tends to be an issue because we have smaller homes as compared
That's true.
to
That's true.
places outside Mumbai. So figure out what works for you, whatever distance you have available for you. So run in that distance. See to it that you're not landing hard, because many people are running barefoot indoors while they used to run outdoors with shoes on, extra comfortable shoes. You spend a bomb on investing in shoes with springy actions and shock absorption and stuff, and now you're not running indoors with the same shoes. You're running barefoot indoors. So the impact will be hard. It's tiles that you're running on, and it's not the soft surface which you're not on. If you're running a track, that's a different thing. But if you're running outdoors uh, on the concrete or tar, again the impact is there. But you're wearing a shoe, unless until you're a barefoot runner outdoors as well. So if you're running indoors and barefoot, see to it that you land soft. The best way would be to practice skipping indoors, uh, so that no one at home should be able to hear you skipping. When you get the
So a
hang
very
of
soft
your
landing.
jump, very soft landing. So when you know that you can land really soft without letting the entire household know that you're skipping, and without making the neighbors downstairs come up and complain to you that that we can hear you exercise all the way down here, uh, you're good to go. Once you get the hang of a soft landing, then you inculcate indoor running. See to it that you're running clockwise, that you're turning clockwise and anti-clockwise. You're turning from your right, and the next loop you're turning from your left. So you can run in a figure of 8 manner, or a couple of loops you can run clockwise, and then a couple of loops you can run
Anti-clockwise.
anti-clockwise. You would have done in your, if any of you has
The
run
stadium run.
a stadium run, that's what they make you do, right? I don't know where that noise is coming from, but I really don't take it. No worries.
Okay. The next thing
Yeah.
which people wanted to know after having gone through this, some people running at home and all, but then there are quite a few people working and they want to have their strength, the strength training done during this lockdown, so that when they are out, they can, go back to the active running. So what are the types of exercises for strengthening of the muscles which you would advise during this lockdown period?
Any kind of cross training. Satish has just said that you can't hear me properly. I really don't know what that background noise is. There's nothing coming from my house, but
It's a hissing sound which even I can hear in the background.
yeah.
So,
All right.
uh,
Let me just figure out what I can.
I think, yeah, the whistle noise is getting louder. Kanika, hi. I think there's again some sort of an issue with the Wi-Fi. Abhishek, can you hear me now?
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you, but I am still getting a whistling sound in the background.
I
Anyway,
really don't have any
let's
idea.
go ahead because this may be a small
Yeah,
connectivity issue.
yeah.
I think it should clear off with time.
All right, all right. Fair enough. But can you hear me
Yeah,
loud
yeah,
now?
you're loud and clear now.
All right,
So we were
good.
talking about
So,
strengthening at home.
can I have the question again?
Yeah, we're talking about exercise for strengthening the running muscles at home.
Okay, all right. So, cross training would be better if you can incorporate cross training as per your individual body structure. The best person to guide you throughout here would be your coach who knows your limitations, who knows your weaknesses. Now, many people are not comfortable with inclines during their normal practice. Some people are not comfortable with their speed drills, and a few are not comfortable with their long distances. So, a better communication channel between you and your coach with respect to your individual goals, whether you have run 21s, 42s, or ultras, or you're a triathlete and you're training for them, but right now consider this as your off season. What has your coach planned for you during your off season? Uh, Depending on that, you can proceed ahead, strengthening not just your legs. You should focus on your core as well as your upper body strength, because we often tend to forget working on our upper body. Consider a person who's interested in gymming. You often see those fitness enthusiasts training their upper body a lot, ignoring the legs. So they would be working out their upper body, say, thrice a week, while as they would be dedicating only one day a week for their legs. That's again a skewed up balance. So try to balance out your week in such a way that you give equal time and attention to your entire body as a whole and not just individual components. Uh, Long distance runners, long distance running for that matter, is a linear sport. Unless and until you're running in BKC, wherein you have to keep turning every now
In
and then,
loops,
but
yeah.
otherwise it's a linear sport. Uh, so our muscles, our upper body has to go this way. But when we do the gait assessment, the kind of gait assessment which we do at our clinical setup is on road. We don't use the treadmills to do a gait assessment because the landing on the treadmill is way different than how you would actually land on the road. Uh, so a gait assessment on the treadmill will not give you the accurate feedback rather than realistic running on the road. So the ideal way to do that would be observe the runner while he or she is running on the road when they are fresh, and second one, ask them to click a video of theirs
Mm-hmm.
when they are done with their long distance running. Okay.
Okay.
So when they are tired after their Sunday long run, that's when the real biomechanical gait assessment makes sense.
So
Because
not at
by
rest. You
that
mean not
time,
at rest?
yeah, yeah, because that time they are going to be running at their most tired state and at their most lowest leverage. So when you understand that, it's easier to make them understand these are the things, these are the areas which you need to work on. Your head has to be positioned this way, your hands have to be moving more. That will give you a better leverage, decrease the energy consumption when you're running, and will improve the last couple of miles rather than dragging yourself in a false biomechanical status.
So that's what quite a few
Linear running again.
quite a few people also wanted to know that how do you maintain your form during running, especially like since you said towards the ending of the running, how do you maintain your form? How do you activate your glutes and keep your glutes activated, keep your core engaged all through? And usually it happens at the beginning, but towards the end, how does one continue doing that?
So towards the end, wherein we are not interested in looking how far away we have to run, and we are tempted to look down towards the road so that to ignore, to block out the rest of the population and the world. We tend to look down. When you're doing that, imagine now that most of us are home and would be handling our pressure cookers and other heavy utensils at home. Imagine lifting a heavy vessel from far away. How much load will that be? And lifting the same thing from something close by. So when you're lifting something which is closer to your body, it is easier. But farther away, you require more leverage, more strength. Imagine the head, the weight of the head. The more you're poking it ahead or down, the amount of strain which your muscles have to, they are exposed to is intense. That's why you need to see to it that your head position is straight on top of your shoulders. Your arms are not going across. When you're running and if your arms start going across, that's the kind of running which track athletes utilize.
True.
100 meters, 200, the sprinters, they might be going more about this way rather, up and across. This way, the cross running would, not track athletes, that would be more for footballers or basketballers, games which require agility and quick turning. They are the ones who require this kind of movement to balance their body from falling off. For linear runners, you need to be more here. And for sprinters, they need to go more higher above. There are some good videos on Usain Bolt with respect to incline and decline running. Satish himself has an amazing video on YouTube where he's explaining how to run uphill and downhill.
Absolutely.
So you should go through all these videos.
We'll post the link of Satish's video so that people who are interested can go through that.
That's quite interesting.
Okay, Abhishek, one very, very important question which everybody wants to know, and basically with runners, is how do you prevent knee injuries for running? How do you manage knee injuries? How do you manage knee pain during running, before, after? So this is one question which has come out from the survey which we took before we in order to collect what people wanted to hear today. So what is your take on that?
So knee pain, or any pain for that matter, is easily avoidable if you listen to just one person, and that person is you. There's no one in this world who can feel your pain. There's only one person who can feel the symptoms, who can feel the signals that your body is giving you. If you just listen to the signals when your body is giving it, and not go by the philosophy of no pain, no gain, you have to understand what kind of pain it is. Is it a good pain or is it a bad pain? So if you feel that, the more you keep running, the pain keeps increasing. You need to identify and change some parameters. So once you have identified the trigger, okay, like Dinesh is posting, I have
back pain
in upper back after 30
kilometers. Yeah.
Okay. So after 30 kilometers आया मतलब क्या हुआ? Long distance में कुछ तो गड़बड़ हुआ. Starting में ठीक था, but the more you keep running, गड़बड़ हो रहा है. मतलब your biomechanics from the head to down there, you have to see the chain, top to bottom. What is going out of sync? What is going in a asymmetric fashion? Where are you running? So when you're running against the traffic, or you're running along with the traffic, the gutter, the road and the gutter, the inclination towards the gutter is making you run continuously at a slight angulation, a slight tilt. So you might want to change sides. So you have to identify the pattern. 30 kilometers बाद क्या हुआ? कुछ नहीं हुआ, same भाग रहा हूँ, तो change ना. If you're running around a loop, clockwise भागते जा रहे हो, change, anti-clockwise भागो. Clockwise भागते समय, you're running at the inner concentric circle, run at the outer concentric circle. So change the arc with which you're running. Then again, if you change your biomechanics, कुछ फर्क नहीं हुआ. You change these sides of running on the road against the traffic, towards the traffic, clockwise, anti-clockwise. Then what is it that you do? You change your cadence. You work on your cadence see whether changing the cadence helps. It's not always necessary to decrease the cadence. Sometimes you have to increase the cadence. Same applies for stride length. It's not always essential that if you have pain, you have to reduce the stride length. Sometimes you have to increase the stride length. This is the problem which often occurs with pacers. Pacers at events land up with more pain than their normal runners. Why? Because they are running at a slower pace than their body is accustomed to, trying to help the other runners.
Yeah, I can relate.
So they are
I
not
can relate to
accustomed
that.
to it.
Having done a 5 hours and a 5 hour 10 bus for the Mumbai Marathon.
And that is what happens because your normal inertia is what is your body used to. Your body is used to running a particular distance at a particular pace. Now you're breaking the body to run at a pace to help the others, which is good, which is quite commendable. तो ऐसे सोचो आप गाड़ी को चला रहे हो बट चलाते चलाते ब्रेक भी मार रहे हो तो टायर तो घसेगा ना. Okay, so the same way, if you have knee pain, the most commonest injury which is misdiagnosed for runners, understand this again, the commonest injury which is often misdiagnosed, wrongly diagnosed, is ITB syndrome. Runners think that they are not serious runners unless and until they have ITB syndrome.
Yeah, and that's a common thing which you hear from everyone. In fact, most of the people say, I have an IT problem, I have an IT problem. So
ITB is falsely implicated, झूठा इल्जाम लगाया जाता है उस पे बेचारे पे खाली पीने के लिए. You have to understand where is the source of the problem. Is it the ITB? Is it the hip joint? Is it the knee joint? Or is it the back? You may be surprised how many ITB syndromes we have treated with a spinal treatment rather than actually touching the ITB. या फोम रोल घिसते जा रहे हैं, मसाज गन से डग 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 किए जा रहे हैं, स्पोर्ट्स मसाज लिए जा रहे हैं. You don't need any of these. You can be independent and solve your apparently ITB issues on your own by the right guidance, nothing else. Okay? Runner's knee, chondromalacia patella, all these are common injuries which you don't need to worry about. But you have to identify where is the pain coming from.
True.
Is it actually the knee or is it somewhere else? For example, अगर लाइट गया है, आपका बल्ब, आपके घर का बल्ब फंक्शन नहीं कर रहा है, so you will check ना कि बल्ब में प्रॉब्लम है, कि वायरिंग में प्रॉब्लम है, कि स्विच में प्रॉब्लम है, कि फ्यूज गया है, क्या प्रॉब्लम क्या है, where is the source of the problem? So the signal is coming at the bulb, but where is it coming from? So the same way, just because you have knee pain doesn't mean the knee is at fault. You have to figure out where is the source of the problem. Okay, I hope that answers.
Absolutely, absolutely. The other thing which has been very common is most runners, in fact, quite a few runners, in fact, have this problem that when I get up in the morning, I get up with a severe pain in my heels. So this is a problem which many of them know it as plantar fasciitis. Others are wondering why it happens. So how does one take care of this? How does one prevent this? How does one treat this?
Fascia is just a sheet. It's a thick sheet covering between your tissues, you would say. Again, many people recommend releasing the fascia, rolling it with a tennis ball, etc., etc. All of this works as far as you feel better doing it. So if you're doing something and makes you feel better, no need to stop that. I'm not going to ask you to stop doing something which is making you feel better. But our body is made from movement. The movement, the right movement, once you figure out what works for you, is what will help treat the plantar fasciitis. If it is fasciitis, that is itis.
An inflammation.
Itis means inflammation. कि उधर कुछ तो बिगड़ गया है, swelling आ गया है, body का healing mechanism है. Inflammation is body का healing mechanism. अगर वो movement से बिगड़, अगर वो inflammation है, आप उसको particular movement देते जा रहे हो तो वो बिगड़ना चाहिए. But most of these cases, the more they move, the first few steps will be painful, but the more they keep moving, they will respond, and the movement will get easier. All that you need to do is, what does a small kid, we don't do it, that's why I'm giving the example of a small kid.
Right.
If you have seen a small kid wake up from their sleep, what is the first thing that they will do? आलस करेंगे, अंगड़ाई लेंगे, stretch, they will stretch their body out, मस्त में पैर इधर जाएगा, हाथ उधर जाएगा, and they will stretch their entire body out, right? Why do they do that? They know that रात भर सोने के बाद जब उठ रहे हैं, body को movement नहीं मिला है. All the joints have been positioned in a static positioning wherein time and gravity two things are acting wherein you are sleeping in all kinds of poses, be it on the sides, be it on the stomach, be it on the back, but you have been resting without moving your joints till they are end range, right?
True.
So what does the kid do? The kid who doesn't have any early liabilities or early responsibilities in the morning doesn't have to wear his shoes and go for his run. What will the kid do? The kid will take his time or her time to stretch the body completely and then get up, right? So the same way, for your plantar fascia also, or for any stretching for that matter, what do we need to do when we wake up? We need to stretch our joints as much as possible. So the first few steps are painful. So बिस्तर पे लेटे जो भी stretching हो सकता है, take your joints to their available end range. Now सीधा 100% stretch नहीं करने का. बॉडी को शुरू कर रहे हो ना धीरे धीरे. गाड़ी शुरू करने से पहले आप सीधा गाड़ी चालू करके भगाएंगे नहीं ना. आप थोड़ा गाड़ी को गर्म होने देंगे. स्टार्ट करके थोड़ा आइडल में चलने देंगे. उसके बाद then you will go to the first gear, second gear, third, fourth gear. The same way, when you wake up in the morning, give yourself time to stretch all your joints from head to toe to its available end range, starting with 10 to 20% of the force and then increasing to 50, 60, 70, 80 and reach your end range. Once you do that, the first few steps should be free. Still if the pain persists with your knee, with your ankle, with your plantar fasciitis, heel spur, वगैरह वगैरह जो भी है, get yourself checked, get yourself assessed. Once you get yourself assessed, see, two people with the same problem, na,
could have different causes.
Problem may still respond differently. Yes, it's like fever. अभी fever हुआ है, अभी सब लोग को fever, खांसी, जुकाम हो गया तो सबको कोरोना नहीं हुआ है. अभी तो बारिश शुरू होएगा. जून में बारिश शुरू होएगा, मलेरिया आएगा, ये आएगा, वो आएगा, सब कुछ आएगा. तो everything के लिए you are not going to get quarantined and you are not going to suspect corona for everything. Then people are just going to go into paranoia mode, right? So you have to identify. कफ आया, fever आया, क्यों आया? What is the cause? You have to get the test done. The same way, if you are having pain in the plantar area, if you are having pain in the knee, what is the source? What is the correct diagnosis? The location of your pain doesn't determine the diagnosis. Just because knee dukh raha hai, that is not your diagnosis. Just because plantar fascia wala area dukh raha hai, mujhe plantar fasciitis hai, nahi. You have to identify the source.
Right.
Okay?
So the next thing is, what is the importance of stretching? Now, we all know that stretching is important, but the main important thing is, do you advise stretching even on the days when you're not working out, when you're not running? And what is the duration? Duration of stretching, duration of hold basically of each stretch, and how important is that from the point of view of fitness and keeping yourself in shape?
Yeah. Like I told you, the baby example, the kiddo example, the body needs to explore all the ranges as often a day as possible, as is practically possible, but we don't do that. Even sitting for half an hour to 1 hour, your body tends to lock up. So it's always better that you stretch your body. Stretching is not just about stretching the muscles. It's about taking your joints to all available end ranges. The muscles, they contract and they relax, but they pass through joints. It's like अगर आप लोग गांव गए हैं और कभी कुआं से पानी निकाला है, तो for those people who have ever gone to their villages and tried removing water from the well, you have a pulley. You have a pulley through which the rope passes,
and you pull the bucket up.
Rope is placed up, and you pull the bucket up. So if the rope is aligned right, it's easier. But if the rope is slightly into a fault, it's not in the groove of the pulley, it is not going to be easy for you to pull. So the same way, the muscles are passing through joints, and they make the bones move towards each other. But if the joint has gone into a slight positional fault, then आपका कितना भी tight रहे muscle, आपका कितना भी strong रहे या कितने भी flexible रहो, you're still going to get pain. Hence, it's always important that when you talk about stretching, focus on achieving end ranges to the particular joints, all available ranges.
Right.
How much to stretch depends on how much time it takes you to reach your end range. सबका end range अलग रहता है.
Absolutely.
Now किसी को पूरा when we ask people to bend forward, some people are able to touch their head to the knees, or some people are able to do a side split completely. Now most of us are not blessed with that
flexibility. Yeah.
Okay, so our end range is our end range. We have to compare with कभी तो मैं इतना कर पाता था, अभी मैं उतना कर पा रहा हूँ कि नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ. Now with age also your flexibility reduces. Now you cannot expect a 50-year-old who has not exercised in 40 years to achieve the same flexibility as what he had when he was 10 years old.
Right.
Right. So you have to figure out कि आप कितना कर पा रहे हो, and depending on that, you have to focus on your available end range and proceed as per your end range. Don't compare with your peers.
Absolutely.
कि नहीं, मुझे वो achieve करना है, मुझे ये achieve.
Yeah, that's not possible.
Okay, then you will end up with injury.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What is the importance, Abhishek, of foam rolling? How important is foam rolling from a runner's point of view? And also the pressure point rolling, what people do with a tennis ball and things of that sort for those sore areas.
If you have already invested in a foam roller or massage equipment, please go ahead and do it. There's no harm in doing these things. I would not recommend these things for treatment purposes because like I said, you have to figure out whether the tightness is your cause of your problem,
right,
or whether it is just a coincidental finding. आप तभी के लिए उसको stretch करेंगे, आपको अच्छा लगेगा, हाँ हो गया अच्छा. But is that the cause?
True.
Every day you go and sit, you sit and you work. Your hamstrings are going to go in that state, right? And then the next day you'll find that it is tight. Again, you will do your foam rolling. Whereas it is not problematic to you, there's no adverse effect to doing it as far as you're doing it right. So करो foam rolling करो, आपको जो करना है करो, okay? फुकट का खर्चा करने का जरूरत नहीं. If you are not already bought a foam roller, no need to. Try it. Unfortunately, when everyone began running, people had started it as a form of fitness, something which anyone could do. There's a very senior runner from down south. Unfortunately, I can't remember his name. I had met him during the first Mumbai Ultra.
Okay.
He runs without a shirt, with khadi shorts and barefoot.
Wow.
Okay. Senior citizen. He's a senior citizen. He's still, I have the name on my tongue, but I can't, it's just not coming out. But yeah, bare minimalist. लेकिन अभी हम लोग ने क्या कर दिया, इसको commercial बना दिया.
Yeah, it's become an expensive hobby today.
It's an expensive hobby unnecessarily. We have put it upon ourselves कि हाँ नहीं भाई foam rolling भी करना है, नहीं भाई massage gun भी करना है, हमें sports massage जाके लेना है.
In fact, that was the next question. The role of sports massage for everyone. That's a trending question which is going on.
अभी क्या करोगे? अभी क्या करोगे? Quarantine हो गया है.
Right.
अभी किसके पास जाके मसाज लेने वाले हो? अभी कोई करेगा नहीं. अभी फिजियोथेरेपिस्ट को भी बोला गया है, मैनुअल थेरेपी दूर रखना है. So the people like me who are focusing on, forget it, I won't talk like that, but what you need to understand is you don't need anyone to try to find things which you can do on your own rather than be dependent on us, or rather than be dependent on equipments like foam roll, needles, cupping, फलाना डिकना, जो भी है. Because आप वो सब लेके भागने वाले हो क्या?
Absolutely.
If you get you have to focus. You're gone abroad and you're running your Amsterdam or Berlin or whatever. You're gone there and you get pain. What are you going to do? Are you going to search for a foam roll and run? You're doing an intercity run. Are you going to run with the foam roll? What? So don't use it as a form of treatment. You should know how to treat your pains, aches and pains on your own, and your body is capable enough to do that without use of any external modalities. Okay, you don't need any currents, you don't need any ultrasound, you don't need this and that for that. If you get yourself assessed right and find the singular exercise which you can do when the pain comes on field when the pain comes on, you have to ask your physio, जब pain आया तभी क्या करना है?
True.
And your physio will guide you through कि तभी क्या करना है. Okay?
Again, in relation to the same thing, again, someone has asked what are the importance of compression wear and during running and compression wear for recovery. There are two different things which people want to know. So, what is your take on that?
Again, I would not want to go into the commercialization of sport.
Absolutely.
If you are a recreational runner, not aiming for any particular podiums, you do whatever you wish to. With respect to you needing the compression wear for medical reasons, please go ahead and get it.
Right.
Otherwise, you're using an assisted device to pump your blood up to aid your circulation. अभी तक रनिंग में ये नहीं हुआ है. I know many sports people also who do that, and it is allowed also. But to me personally, these are my personal opinions. Has got nothing to do with official or research backing or something like that. But my conscience will not allow me to run with supportive wear, which other runners are not going to procure.
Okay.
Okay. So, can you use it? Yes, you can. Should you use it? If you are having medical issues, please take it. Otherwise, you're using an assisted device to assist pumping your blood back to the heart to improve your performance. But without the compression wear, would that be your real performance?
So there will be a difference. That's what you wish to say? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Now that hopefully the lockdown is nearing the end and people are waiting for the day they come back and run, there are a few things which they want to know. This when they come back and start running, how should they increase? How should the progressive increase take place? And the most important thing is how difficult or how easy it is going to be running with the mask, because I think running with the mask is the new normal, which will have to be followed at least for the next 6 to 8 months, the way it goes on, the way it looks right now.
Try walking with a mask outside and you will realize it's difficult.
True.
Forget about running. We all received that post of that unfortunate incident wherein that guy passed away.
Recently.
His lung collapsed. It was a rarity, a rare case, but it did happen. Now, like I said at the beginning of the talk, there are two kinds of people in the running community divided worldwide. Those who wish to run indoors and those who do not support it at all, but have been cross-training. But they have been cross-training or doing something or the other. So if you have been doing indoor running or stair climbing for that matter, at least your cardiorespiratory system has been functioning to an optimum level. But running indoors and stair climbing both have different gait mechanisms, both have different loading strategies. Indoor running mein your cadence has changed, your stride length has changed, your work efficiency of your heart and lungs have also changed. Don't think कि indoor running किया है तो आपने कम भागा है, because indoor running में भी आपका effort काफी लग रहा है, भले ही आपको लग रहा नहीं रहे वैसे. You do sweat a lot, you do burn a lot of calories because of the regular turning around which is required. So indoor running is equally heavy on your heart and lungs. So you have been training fine, okay? But the loading which your joints are accustomed to, without your footwear or with your footwear, running indoors with the twists and turns, and now that you start running outdoors, again a different surface, tar, concrete. You don't try to go back to the earlier set of training, mileage, or for
your speed,
that
your
matter,
pace,
even your stride length and cadence.
Right.
So always better that you start off with keeping realistic goals. Don't try to compare कि पहले मेरा स्ट्रावा में इतना आया था, पहले मेरे गार्मिन में इतना आया था, अरे उतना तो होना चाहिए ना, नहीं होने वाला है. उतना करने जाओगे, कर भी लोगे, चलो विल पावर रख के आप कर भी लोगे, but it's always safer if you perform to start off with say 50% or something, and then gradually over the next 1 month or 2 months build it up, say 10% every week, pakad ke, you build it up. Okay, that is what any coach would advise.
Right.
So stick with what you have. Before you begin, see to it that you consult your coach as to what is the plan of action you need to go ahead with.
True.
Okay.
True.
Without consulting your coach, don't just go on to running and maintain social distancing.
That's important. That's, I think, a new normal and
very important.
Yeah, that's the new normal, and we need to now follow those. Stop those running hugs and stop those running. Shake hands and things of that sort. Now, one thing is, after long runs, people have been having a lot of aches and pains. So there has been a trend amongst people that you get a mild pain here, mild pain there, just pop in a painkiller, pop in an anti-inflammatory. Is that the right thing to do? What is your take on pain management following a long run?
any pain which lasts for more than 4 days is probably not soreness. It's an injury. A stitch in time saves 9. बचपन से सुनते आए, right?
Right.
So if you have pain which is lasting for more than 4 days, please get yourself evaluated. Post a long run, सीढ़ी चढ़ने उतरने थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट पड़ रहा है, स्टेयरकेस क्लाइंबिंग में दुख रहा है, थोड़ा नी दुख रहा है, 1 दिन गया, 2 दिन गया, चलेगा, you can still wait and watch. But if it keeps happening every Sunday after Sunday, you're getting that, then get yourself checked again.
Right.
More often than not, it will be soreness which will go. How do you tackle soreness? By moving it. Okay? Public बोलता है long run करके आया, अभी सीढ़ी चढ़ना उतरना नहीं है. क्यों नहीं चढ़ना उतरना है? Consider that as a cool down.
I hope
we had the intercity runs.
I hope the wives are not listening to this talk, because all the guys, wives and the husbands both, because all the runners, when they come back home, they normally would want to rest, and now their spouses are going to tell them to start doing all the other work.
The best way to keep your spouses happy, unfortunately, which we can't do now, is what I used to tell people when I used to go for the talks to their centers, is go with your family to the nearest garden, the beach, or the mall after your long run. In the evening, take them out. Wherever you can walk a lot, because that will be your recovery walk.
Absolutely. And
but unfortunately now you can't do all that.
True, absolutely true.
Yeah.
There is one question which has come up amongst the viewers, and Anil Patel, in fact, wants to know, hi Anil, about flat foot runners. What is the problem and how does one manage running with a flat foot?
Flat foot is a normal abnormality. Okay, I'll repeat. It is a normal abnormality. All of us will have deviations. What is normal? What do you mean by normal? Nobody knows. वो बोलने के लिए ठीक है, वो शूज बेचने के लिए ठीक है, भाई इतना आर्च होना चाहिए. ओके, गेट एनालिसिस करेंगे, फिर बोलेंगे ये वाला जूता अच्छा है मेरा, ये जूता ही खरीदो आप. There have been runners who have lost out on events by listening to such advice.
True.
Okay, they have gone for the gait analysis without pain, bought shoes, new shoes, run their long distances with those recommended shoes after the gait analysis, and they have missed events. Forget about missing the timing for the event, they have ended up missing events.
Did not start.
एक रनर का 1 साल बर्बाद हुआ. Okay, she could do that event only the next year, because that event ऐसे भी साल में एक ही बार होता है, but she missed out on that event because she was not chosen. She could not clear the screenings because she changed her shoe. Ironically, she had the same company ka previous shoe, so she could have just continued running with the old shoe, but she went there, she did the assessment, and she landed up with this. So flat foot is normal. You did not develop flat foot overnight.
You're born with it.
It's been with you since the time you're. I won't say you were born with it.
Yeah,
but
you
grew up with
true.
it. Okay, it got developed as you grew up. Your body adapted to it. ये जो आपका 2 महीने का quarantine हुआ है, your body has adapted to that quarantine also. The first 2 weeks or 3 weeks might have been difficult, but now you're used to this lifestyle. Okay, अभी यहाँ से change करने का difficult रहेगा. So your flat foot also, your body has already adapted to. But if it is giving you pain, suppose you would have been a small child complaining of flat feet and giving you trouble, आपका growth years है, तो मैं बोलता था okay, go and get your assessment done through a podiatrist and get the insoles or the corrections done. Okay, but if you are an adult, वो flat feet जैसा है वैसा रहेगा. आपको again you want to like I said, commercialization.
Absolutely.
प्रोडक्ट बेचना है. अगर आपको एक्चुअली फ्लैट फुट के लिए प्रोडक्ट लेना है, तो हर फुटवेयर के लिए आपको इंसोल बिठवाना पड़ेगा.
Okay.
तो घर पे भी नंगे पाँव नहीं चलने का. घर पे भी देन यू विल हैव टू वेयर अ चप्पल विद द करेक्शन. ओके,
एब्सोल्युटली.
आपका फॉर्मल वेयर के लिए इंसोल में रहना चाहिए, आपका रनिंग के लिए इंसोल में रहना चाहिए, आपका हर. देन व्हेन यू डू द मैथ, देन यू विल फिगर आउट कि बहुत खर्चा हो रहा है. Then you will be like कि flat foot ही better है, चलेगा, मेरे को करेक्ट नहीं करना. Okay, so you figure out and you go ahead with it. But if it is giving you pain, get it assessed. Most probably it will not be your flat foot which is giving you the trouble. It may be something else,
Yes.
something underlying which needs to be tackled. Yes.
One more question which has come up from Ashish. Ashish, hi. Is how do you treat a calf tear and how bad is a calf tear and how do you manage it?
Ashish, will really have to check whether it really is a calf tear or what. If you have gotten any tests done, we will need to you'll need to really see you individually. Many a times the clinic assessment, the in-clinic assessment gives out much a different perspective than what is presented on a investigative report. So we need to see whether both of them correlate, and if it is, then your rehabilitation, go to your nearby physio. If surgery is required, you will have to get it done depending on what level of tear it is. You will require physio before and after. Prehab होता है, surgery के बाद rehab होता है. Prehab मतलब जो आप surgery से पहले करते हैं. Outside India, prehab ज़्यादा होता है because there the government पे social security system रहता है जहाँ पे लाइन बहुत ज़्यादा रहता है. तो सर्जरी के लिए किसी को भी लेते नहीं हैं उन लोग. पहले उन लोग हमेशा बोलेंगे फिजियो के पास जाओ, वहाँ पे देखो कितना क्या होता है. अगर फिजियोथेरेपी से कंजर्वेटिव मैनेजमेंट से अगर हो गया तो ठीक है, देन यू आर नॉट लाइंड अप फॉर सर्जरी. बट इफ अगर फिजियोथेरेपी से नहीं हो रहा है, देन द फिजियोथेरेपी विल पुश योर नेम फॉरवर्ड की ही इज नॉट आवर केस, ही इज अ सर्जिकल कैंडिडेट. Then the government will allow and be ready to pay for your surgery. यहाँ पे उल्टा सिस्टम है थोड़ा. यहाँ पे पहले सर्जरी के लिए जाते हैं और बाद में सीधा फिजियोथेरेपी के पास आते हैं. But that is our individual choice, and because we are the payers here and the government is not the payer.
True.
So that system will take some time to change, but that's okay. So get your assessment done through a local physiotherapist wherever you stay. They should be able to guide you through.
Okay, one more question, Abhishek, which has come up is a runner. I didn't get his name, sorry, it just went up in the scroll. He's complaining about shoulder pain which comes up after about the first 25 kilometers of every long run. So what do you do?
Shoulder pain. Again, after 25 kilometers, what does that suggest? So if you had joined us earlier, you might have heard us talk about when your mileage increases, your leverage, your body position, your biomechanics, your gait goes for a toss and you tend to go into a faulty positioning. That leads to a lot of load going down here. Now your shoulder joint is not a hinge joint. Elbow में ये और ये movement होता है. Shoulder में 360 degrees of movement होता है. तो अगर elbow आपका एक single isolated building है, shoulder joint एक complex of buildings है. It's like a society of 4 buildings, 4 joints. So there are a lot of movements, there are a lot of muscles contributing to that. आपके jaw के muscles जाते हैं, आपके neck के muscles जाते हैं, आपके chest से आते हैं, पीछे thoracic spine से आते हैं. एक muscle ऐसा hip से यहाँ पे आके यहाँ पे join होता है. Hip नहीं बोलूँगा, pelvis से जाके यहाँ से wings, जो हम लोग यहाँ पे gym जाके wings build up करते हैं. So a lot of factors, a lot of muscles provide the shoulder. Plus, the nerve supply for the shoulder originates from the neck, upper back, and stuff. So we need to identify why are you getting the pain. Is it referring from your neck after 25 kilometers, or is it from the continuous monotonous swinging back and forth? You could try changing your stance and pumping here, moving your hand up and down, or doing a few stretches while you're running and see whether that changes it. If it doesn't, make note of your pain patterns and consult your physio. They will tell you what is to be done when the pain comes on at the 25th kilometer. Once they are done with your clinical assessment. 25 kilometers में जो पेन आया वो आपका functional limitation था, functional baseline था, limitation नहीं, functional baseline था. Okay, वो baseline identify कर लिया आपने. अभी clinically अगर कुछ baseline निकलता है, जब उन लोग आपका testing करेंगे, उन लोग आपको एक corrective movement देंगे उसके basis पे, और वो baseline सुधरना चाहिए. So when your clinical baselines improve with a particular movement, which they will tell you to do on your own, then you need to apply that knowledge and do it when the pain comes on in the 25th kilometer, 30th kilometer, whenever it comes on, and then report to them you'll report three things. You'll say you're the same, you'll say you're better, or you'll say you're worse. Only three baselines. So depending on that, they will take the next step. So your treatment progresses based on when your pain comes on, what do you do? Do you do the corrective movement, and what is your body's response to the corrective movement? I hope that answers.
That's right. We have Anil Panchal with us. Anil wants to know that after 20 to 35 kilometers, he gets cramps in his legs and especially in his calves. So is it only due to hydration, or is there some other issue?
Hydration is often the most commonest reason. Dehydration is the most commonest reason for cramping. What we need to understand is our blood vessels. Blood vessels are what carry the blood. The blood carries the waste flux and oxygen and carbon dioxide and everything to and fro. The pure blood, the impure blood from the heart and the lungs to the muscles and stuff. So, अगर hydration कम रहा, then you may get cramps. Blood vessels को कौन supply करता है? Nerves supply करता है, और nerves को blood vessels supply करता है. So दोनों interconnected है. छोटे छोटे blood vessels nerves को supply करते हैं, छोटे छोटे nerves blood vessels को supply करते हैं. So they work synergistically and they work for each other. Now cramping, if it is both legs, okay, दोनों पैर पे cramping आ रहा है, chances of it being because of your nerve getting compressed in your back is much more than hydration.
Right.
अभी इसमें क्या करेंगे, हम पानी पीते जाएंगे, बनाना खाते जाएंगे कि मैग्नीशियम दो, ये दो, वो दो, सब कुछ लिया लेकिन आपका क्रैम्प नहीं जा रहा है. Then it is more often than not your spine which needs to be tackled. So get your back assist and get to the root cause. Not the location, like I said earlier, the location of pain or symptoms. Okay, cramping is a symptom. The location of symptom doesn't determine the diagnosis. You need to identify what is the root cause. Is it a nerve compression which is causing the cramping? Because many times what happens is, हम लोग फिर on field जब रहते हैं ना, ऐसे cramping हो गया, we also go pillion riding on the bike when the race is going on to marshal. कि बीच में किसी को कुछ तकलीफ है तो हम लोग फिजियोस पीछे बैठे रहते हैं बाइक पे और हम लोग वो एड्रेस करते हैं वो इश्यू को. तो अगर ऐसा हुआ तो if we try to stress the calf ना, वो और चिल्लाते उल्टा, then we know कि ये कुछ तो गड़बड़ है, because वरना वो स्ट्रेच से कम होना चाहिए. The blood flow should improve, but no, it is not. And then we make them lie down on their stomach and we treat their spine, and when we treat their spine, the cramping goes away like this.
So one has to assess the cause.
The cause,
yeah,
whether it is cramping due to dehydration or because of the nerves.
Right.
Yeah.
I think we're running very, very short of time right now, but it's been very nice having Abhishek with us. Abhishek, you've been very candid, very honest, and in fact, there have been a lot of comments saying that people have really appreciated your frank opinions about quite a few topics and your non-commercial attitude. So thanks, Abhishek. Thanks being with us. Hopefully, we'll have you again soon because these questions are going to be endless. There are going to be quite a few questions which are coming up. In fact, I would recommend everyone who has any further questions to have it sent to our on the Insta handle, so that we can address these questions. We can even probably address it directly to you if we have your Insta handles. We'll post them to Dr. Abhishek. On behalf of Karma Fitness, we would like to tell you that we would be organizing similar shows, similar talk shows, so that people are well informed and about various aspects about running and fitness. So on behalf of Karma Fitness, I thank you all for being here. Thanks, Dr. Abhishek, once again. You've been very, very helpful. And
thank you for having me over here, Satish, Doc, Karma. Thank you so much.
Our pleasure. Our pleasure. Thank you. Thank you, Abhishek.